Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And where we are today is at DUNEIGHT, MOTTE and Bailey. And of course, the MOTTE and Bailey is near RAVARNETTE. And I grew up in RAVARNETTE village and used to come up here with my brothers and my friends when we were kids, and we used to play up here at the MOTTE and Bailey. And of course, it's an Anglo-Norman MOTTE and Bailey, but originally it was actually an Irish fort. In fact, it was a royal fort because the kings of Ullid, or in other words Ulster, actually had a fort here. So little did I know whenever I was playing here as a kid that I was actually playing on a royal fort. And as you can see there, it says DUNEIGHT, MOTTE and Bailey. And it doesn't look a whole lot high from this side, but when you get on the far side, it is a right height up from the river. And there's a wee billboard here, and I'm going to take the time to read it to you, and it'll give you a bit of the history of the MOTTE and Bailey here at DUNEIGHT. It says DUNEIGHT, MOTTE and Bailey, Anglo-Norman earthwork. This fine Anglo-Norman MOTTE and Bailey castle stands on the north bank of the RAVARNETTE River and commands the valley route. There's different ways to spell RAVARNETTE. Whenever we lived at RAVARNETTE, the way most people lived there, probably still spell it, is R-A-V-A-R-N-E-T-T-E. Another way is R-I-V-E-R-N-E-T. So there's about at least three different ways to spell RAVARNETTE. But it says this fine Anglo-Norman MOTTE and Bailey Castle stands on the north bank of the RAVARNETTE River and commands the valley route. I probably won't read all this, but I'll read some of it to you. Built on top of an older earthwork, the mound or moat rises 10 metres above the ditch on the very steep west side. That's where we'll be going around there shortly. You need to go to the summit to appreciate just how steep it is on that side, and it says be careful. And I'll try to get up to the summit, but I have bad knees, so I have to be very careful, is right. It says there, the Bailey, a kind of lower level annex, is on the east side, and it's 4 metres below the flat top of the moat. So there's the royal fort there. It says, this place has been identified as the site of, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, and it was a stronghold of the kings of Ullid or Ulster. The royal fort is mentioned in the Irish annals in the early 11th century. In 1003, there was fighting at DUNEIGHT when it was attacked by forces. In 1010, again, it's one of the O'Neills burnt the fort, or the Dun, and destroyed the settlement, the town, the Bailey at DUNEIGHT. And then it says, digging up the past, excavation of the Bailey in 1961 confirmed that the earlier enclosure on the ridge was an impressive, very well-defended stronghold. The archaeologists also discovered part of a Bronze Age coloured urn with a cremation burial and some flint tools. Evidence of happenings at this bend in the river long before the time of the, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Del Fitak Kingdom. You would think I know this, saying I'm from here, but I don't. So there you go. I'm going to read this wee bit out to you too. The Bailey is a slight remodelling of an earlier enclosure which contained several wooden and stone structures, including a stone building in the middle. It seems that this building was in unusual condition when the Normans arrived sometime between 1177 and 1230. Post holes show that they constructed a number of new timber buildings close by, but they were able to use part at least of the existing stone building, perhaps adding a wooden porch. They also widened the existing bank around the Bailey and dug a deep ditch to isolate it from the moat. Some slighter structures beyond the bank on the east side may be what remained of the township after the Irish king destructive handiwork in 1010 AD. And so there's a wee reconstruction of what they think roughly it would have looked like. So this part here is there, the Bailey, and this part here is the moat, which is just beyond the Bailey there over the hill, as you can see. So there you go. And of course, it was the Anglo-Normans who built a lot of these moats and bailies under John de Courcy. But if they had plenty of time, if there was no real threat to them, they would have constructed a stone castle, like for instance Carrickfergus or Dundrum. But if they were needed it up quick, because of, for instance, the Irish who would have been attacking them, then what they would have done is they would have constructed wooden structures. Of course, the mounds were man-made, although they, like Dundonald, they would have tried to find somewhere which was already had a bit of a hill or a bit of a mound on it. So for instance, there was a fort here, so that would have been a bit of a start for them. So that's the bailey there, and that's the mound. And I'm going to try and get up there, but I'll have to be very careful. I'll have to go up like a snake, because what do you call it? I don't want to wreck my knees. It's just a pity there's no path round like there is in Mottete. In Mottete it sort of goes round and then it takes you eventually up, but I suppose I could try and do that myself. So there you go. Now I'm not going to try and get down there, there's no way. We'll go down the other side because I would just simply wreck my knees trying to get down there. But there you can see, that's the RAVARNETTE River. Beautiful, isn't it? We used to play up here as we were kids. Whenever I was a kid, going up that mound would have been no problem. I would have went up it like a 2-year-old. But I couldn't go up at night too well. That's for sure. Beautiful, isn't it? So there you go. So I'll take you around the other side now, and I'll let you see it. Great to have these old mounds, even if there's none of the structure left at this one. Certainly great to have it. What you're looking at there, folks, is not only a piece of history, but ancient history. Dating back not only to the Anglo-Normans in the 12th century, but to the royal kings of Ulster. Fantastic, isn't it? In the 11th century. Brilliant. So I'll try and get down here without slipping. Again, you can see the bluebells there, look. Fantastic. You can see them around the other side there just a moment ago. And we'll get a better view of the bluebells when we get round to the front. So I apologise for the slowness, but fortunately that's the pace that I have to go at now. This is amazing, isn't it? Fantastic. Big history here for me and my family as well. So say we used to play here as kids. There you can see the bluebells. Beautiful. Or as my friend Tackling would call them, a carpet of bluebells. And check out his wee video on that. They're beautiful, the bluebells. Now do you see this tree here? Believe it or believe it not. That tied a rope onto that tree when we were kids, and at the end of the rope there was a tire, and you sat on the tire and you could swing. Some swing, isn't it? So a lot of memories here for me. Look at how steep that's getting now. And you're right beside Curry's Glen here. It's brave steepness this side, isn't it? You can definitely appreciate it. There's a carpet of bluebells. Brilliant. Have to watch here, it's very mucky. You're right beside the river. So there you go. Fantastic. And that's the RAVARNETTE River. Beautiful, isn't it? My mum and her friend, when we were kids, used to take me and my brother down, and my mum's friend would have took her daughter down to the river, and as my mum called it, we used to paddle in it. And that's the glen just down there. So we're going to be going down the glen. Big history with the glen and Jeremy Taylor. And also there's a Williamite connection as well to the glen as well, Curry's Glen. And so hope to do a wee video there next. There you can see a wee stream running into the river there. So there you go. So thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. God bless.